Hey everyone, my name is Dave and welcome to my first ever episode of coin searching. I'm going to call this my half Horde. So thanks for joining me on my first episode as we search through a box of half dollars and see what we can find. Today we're going to be looking for silver or anything else of interest. Don't know what we're going to find in the box. I'll share some tips and tricks for how I've been doing this for the last couple of years. And let's get started on a box. Okay, half Horde, so I figured I'd start out by introducing you to everything you'll need to successfully hoard and find treasure hunt half dollar boxes. So the first thing is obviously the half dollar box. So we've got a sealed bank box of $500. There are 50 $10 rolls in this. And we're going to open that up in just a minute, but I also want to show you something else you need. So before you go through and pull out anything of interest from these boxes, you need some spare half dollars, things that you've already checked through to make sure that they are not of value, just standard 50-cent pieces that you can replace anything of interest that you find. You're also going to need a small utility knife of sorts. You're not going to use the blade, but we're actually going to use the screwdriver attachment on this one. Something that's sharp enough, but not sharp, actually sharp, blunt on the end. And we're going to use this to open up the rolls. I'll show you in a moment. So the first thing we're going to do here is open up the box. So it's usually not too difficult. I did say usually. Alright. Got this open here. Look at that. Alright, so we're going to fold back the edges. Just move these aside for a moment. Fold back the edges so you can see what's inside. A little punch out from the cardboard box. We're going to throw that away. What else do we have? Alright, so just take a quick survey of the tops of the coins here. It doesn't particularly look like anything's interesting at the surface in this particular case. Every now and then when you open up a box, you can kind of take an initial view of what's facing you, and every now and then you'll see something pop out right at the get-go. But this particular case doesn't look like anything is really jumping out at me. Okay, so let's start. We're going to pull out one roll. Okay, and so we've got a standard bank roll here, sealed at both ends. And what we're going to do is identify the end that we're going to unroll. So if you look very closely here, you can see the cut hash marks where the roll ends. So we're going to take the one that, if we roll this clockwise, is going to help us unroll the roll. We want to save the roll because ultimately we don't want to end up with 1,000 loose coins here. So we're going to reuse the rolls. Very important. So you don't have to go out and buy new rolls, and you don't have to lug a bunch of half dollars around that are loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screwdriver, place it on the inside of the roll, and then while gently pushing outwards and upwards, I'm going to unroll the roll. And eventually, once it gets started, you'll see that it will completely unroll until it's completely open. See that? Okay, so now we have one sealed end, one open end. What we're going to do now is I place it in my hand, push gently on one side but firmly until they all pop out. Alright, now take this empty roll. Don't crush it, don't throw it away. We're just going to put it aside for a moment. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we are going to start by what I call an edge check. So we're going to take these coins and just look at the edges. Now there are a lot of different things you can look for. If you're looking for, you know, different die varieties or error coins and that sort of thing, you want to do a thorough search where you inspect each coin. It takes a lot of time, and in my opinion, my experience, not very worthwhile in terms of, you know, just finding things of value quickly and going through this box quickly. It all depends on what you're looking for. Today we're just looking for silver wherever possible. So looking at the edges of these coins, okay, it doesn't look like there's anything in this roll of interest. So any non-silver coin is going to have a little bit of copper along the edge. You can see the copper core. The outside silver coloration is nickel. But yeah, so this is a copper composite coin. So not particularly interested in any of these. Okay, and so in addition to the edge check, where we're looking visibly to see if anything looks unique or interesting, if we don't see anything, we also do a audio test, where we're going to listen to the coins as we clink them and see if we hear anything unusual. Because especially silver coins will sound a little bit different. But let's do that real quick. So nothing unique in particular here. Hopefully we'll find something. On average, I would say an average box such as this will usually find 2-3 coins. But all right, so now we've got our coins, we've got our empty bankroll, right? Kind of a pain to transport and handle back at the bank. So we're going to put these back in. So we're just going to angle our coins like such. Put the edge of the roll in, and voila. It takes a lot of practice to get this down, by the way. Don't feel bad if you're not quite as coordinated yourself when you first try that. So now we're just going to crimp the ends. Okay, we're going to put it back in the box and move on to the next roll. Okay, we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take a look. All right, find the end that if we roll it clockwise, I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you might want to do counterclockwise. Nudge it, nuzzle this in there. Roll it until it opens. Put that down so nobody gets hurt. Okay, and again, we're looking at the edges here. I see mostly copper edges on this one. Nothing of interest right out of the get-go, but again, we do the clink test. Okay. Not bad. All right. And again, let them flatten your hand at a slight angle. I realized that was looking a lot easier than it actually is. Again, I've been doing this for years, so crimp the ends. So we've got a nice sealed roll, open on one end with the original bank seal, and then just kind of sealed up. And again, replace it in the box. All right, I'm really excited. This bank usually gives me some pretty good boxes. Okay. A lot of guys will just rip these things open. Okay. All right. Oh, I think I see something of interest here. So let's take a look here. You guys see what I see? Okay. So, got a coin about midway through the roll. Oh, this is exciting. Who knows what it could be? And it actually appears to have a gold edge to it. Ooh. Oh, wow. Check this out. Okay. So this is a 1983 Kennedy half dollar that appears to have been gold plated. Now, these usually aren't worth a lot of money or anything, but they are very, very unique, very interesting. It is also stamped with a date. I believe it's 1983, 1963. So those are actually punched onto the surface of the coin. Well, you can see that. But yeah, there's one unique rarity right here. So gold-plated coin, Kennedy $50. Okay, Kennedy $50 were only made in 2014 out of actual gold, so we're pretty sure this is just gold-plated. And people did this years ago, I suppose, to honor the anniversary of President Kennedy's tragic assassination. But there we go, we found something. All right, so we're going to put this aside as part of our hoard. So that's the first coin in our hoard, folks. Gold-plated Kennedy $50. How about that? Okay, now we're going to remember we took one out of this roll, so that we can replace it with a standard $50 out of our supply of $50 we've already checked through. This way we maintain the appropriate coin count in this particular roll. All right, now looking at this again, it's another coin that jumps out at me. And again, sometimes from the edges we think they're going to be something, but they're not. So we're going to pull this one out. It looked a little silvery, but it turns out it's not. It's a 1972 Kennedy $50, which is not anything of particular interest. Okay, so nothing else jumps out at me from an edge perspective, so we're going to do again the clink test. Okay. Okay, there we go. So there's nothing else in this roll. I'm going to put it back. I always love finding things like this. This is, just fun to look at. Somebody actually gold-plated this thing and then punched a couple extra dates on it. So next roll. Here we go. Okay, again, find the edge. That way we're going to unroll it. And firm pressure, but not so much you're ripping through the paper. Okay, put this off to the side. Firm pressure with your thumb on one edge while you're holding it firmly with the other hand. Place it off to the side so we can reuse it. And again, we're going to do, right out of the gate, a little piece of garbage in here. We'll throw that away. So let's see here. So, anything of interest? Oh, wait a second. That second coin there, looks like it might have an interesting edge. But it turns out it's a 1983. Sometimes these coins come in contact with things. I'm not quite sure why they pick up a little bit of silvering on the edge. So sometimes they can fake you out. But in this case, it was not what we were looking for. So edge check doesn't really show anything of interest, although this one does have a little bit of a sharper, thicker edge. So let's check that one. So this is a bicentennial $50. So got Independence Hall on the back and the dual date on the front, 1776, 1976. Other than just being different than most $50, this one's not usually particularly valuable. Okay, now we're on to our clink test. All right. Okay, on to the fifth roll here. Okay, we're open sufficiently here. Release the coins from the roll. And we do our edge check. Okay. So, share with you as well. Okay, nothing jumps out in this roll, but we always do our clink test. Hopefully we'll find some silver today so I can show you how the clink test can help reveal silver coins to you a little bit. They do sound different. Not awfully different, but enough that you can pick them out if you've got a good ear to you. Okay. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to just pick up the pace a little bit on these, because at a certain point, unless you're just practicing on your own, just becomes redundant here. Okay, nothing really looking that interesting in this roll. Again, clink test. Sometimes do it twice, just to double check myself. And then back in the roll. So I can go back to the bank. Nice thing about this hobby is that while obviously it does take the ability to fund a $500 box, ultimately when you're done and you've removed a couple silver coins from this, or whatever coins of interest you may have, for the most part you should still have almost your full $500 to return to the bank. So it is a very low cost hobby in terms of net cost. Of course, you need the $500 to get the box. So I won't belittle that piece of it. Okay, so quick look. Okay, nothing of interest here. That at least jumps out at me immediately. And nothing on a clink. So we're just doing edge checks and clink tests. Make sure we find whatever silver's in here. Most of what I've found historically has been 40% silver coins. So those were minted from 1965 through 1970. 1970s are very rare. You almost never find them. But 1969, 68, 67, 66, 65, all the time. Very often 64s, which are 90% silver coins. And, you know, occasionally some other interesting pieces. Hopefully we'll come across something today. Okay, so edge check. I'll pull this one out only because you can really see the copper edge on this particular one that we're looking at. I know sometimes on video it can be a little bit challenging. That one has a real good copper edge. Those are the ones we're not looking for. So all in all, I've been doing this, let me think about this. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, starting in 2009. I know I did it before that, maybe a year before that. So I've been doing this since about 2008, so about 11 years now. Found quite a bit of silver in that time. You know, the ability to source boxes changes with your bank and your bank policies, and you know, you really need to get to know your tellers well so that they'll support you in this, because it is an expense for the bank in terms of ordering and just maintaining inventory for you. But nothing jumps out here. Okay, seal it up nice and tight, and on to the next roll. I don't want to lead anyone that you're going to get incredibly rich doing this, but it is a lot of fun. And when we do find things that are valuable, they are quite interesting. So edge check. Nothing jumps out. Clink test. We're all clean on this one. Nothing of interest. Next roll. Let's roll. That's what I said. Okay, edge check. Nothing. Oh, something jumped out at me there. Oh. What is this? Yeah, every now and then a coin will pop up that somebody may have written on. So this one's got a 658 written on it. I don't know why they wrote that. I don't know if they were counting money like Scrooge McDuck, piling it up, and just decided to demarcate this on the coin. But anyway, every now and then you'll come across some interesting things on these. Okay, so fix my roll. So you can replace it. Not going to keep that one. It wasn't of particular interest, but sometimes people put stickers on them indicating different commemorative events or people or places, businesses. So it's interesting to look those up, find out where they came. Last roll of the thing. Let's keep our fingers crossed here. Let's see what we get. Always thankful for everything we find, of course. Let's see. Okay, looks like it's a bust on silver today. Oh, we do have a nice clean 2011 half dollar. Okay. So that 2011, yeah. Probably came out of a mint bag from a collector. I'm not going to keep it, but we are done with the roll, with the box, my friends. Thank you, Half Horde, for sticking with me through this box. All right, so we're going to fold up our utility knife here so that we don't hurt ourselves. Push it off to the side. We're going to close this back up, and now return this to the bank, get our $500 back in cash. All right, that was pretty cool. So thank you for joining me for the first episode of Half Horde. So we were quite successful in our first search together here, getting ourselves a beautiful 1983 Kennedy half dollar plated in pure gold. Who would have thought that this would be our first find? So please like and subscribe. I'll put out some additional episodes, and we'll continue to catalog our finds and see how we progress over time here. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe.